Hey, what is up, guys? It's Simbucky here. How are you guys doing? As always, hope you guys are doing good. I have some pretty exciting news for you guys in this commentary. It pertains to the future of Call of Duty and possibly Modern Warfare 2 coming to next gen. Now, I'm sure some of you might have heard this. I didn't find out about it till about a couple days ago. But Marc Rubin, the current lead developer for Infinity Ward, has left Infinity Ward. So he's no longer there. He was the lead developer for them for Ghosts, and I believe Modern Warfare 3, following the Modern Warfare 2 or the 2010 feud issue that happened between Infinity Ward and Activision. But ever since then, he's been the lead developer, and now that he left, they actually brought in Todd Alderman, and some of you that might ring a bell for. Some of them you guys might not. Todd Alderman is actually the previous lead developer for Infinity Ward. He was there for COD 4 and Modern Warfare 2. So, in my opinion, those were the two best Call of Duty games, and I guess the two, the only ones that were actually really good, in my opinion. So, having him come back really adds a positive for Infinity Ward and for Call of Duty, because it means we might get back to how those games were. We might actually get back to the older style, I guess the good old days of Call of Duty. So I think I've said this in the past, exactly what happened in 2010 between Infinity Ward and Activision. But for those of you who don't know, I'm going to go ahead and tell it for you guys so you know exactly what's going on and why 40 developers left Infinity Ward in the first place, which is kind of what had the downfall of Infinity Ward and Call of Duty in general. So, back in 2010, after the release of Modern Warfare 2, Infinity Ward was set to create a prequel to that game. Now, for many of you guys who've played that game, you'll know that one of the prominent characters that's alongside you through most of the campaign is a guy named Ghost. He wears a ghost mask. Kind of seems familiar to a game we just had out, but that's a different story. So, Infinity Ward decided to make a prequel and kind of tell a story about where he came from, what the mask meant. And Activision at that time didn't want that to happen. Activision wanted Infinity Ward to make Modern Warfare 3, and they actually refused to pay them their bonuses until they did so. And so because of that, Infinity Ward sued Activision for withholding bonuses until they made the game. And so that led to about 40, I think the actual number was like 38 developers leaving Infinity Ward during the production of Modern Warfare 3. And those developers actually went on to create Respawn Entertainment, which is the developer for Titanfall. So, they left there and kind of went and made their own company, and in my opinion, Titanfall is actually a pretty good game, so I think they did a good job. Obviously, all the good developers must have left if Ghost turned out the way it did. So, because of that, Marc Rubin was actually set to take Todd Alderman's place, and ever since then, he's been the lead developer. Now, I can't put it all on Marc Rubin for the bad success of Call of Duty. When so much of a company leaves, Activision was forced to bring in, Neversoft and Sledgehammer Games to help finish Modern Warfare 3. So I can't use Modern Warfare 3 as an example because anytime you have a company leave and you have to bring in subsidiaries or other companies to kind of help assist with the development of a game, that game is always going to be riddled with problems such as Modern Warfare 3 was. However, after that, they've had a long time. They've had a good 2 years to create Ghosts. And for those listening to the story, I honestly believe that Infinity Ward just picked up the notes that the old Infinity Ward left. Now, since Infinity Ward is owned by Activision, and under the contract, whatever work that they do is owned to Activision. And so, whatever work that the old Infinity Ward did, as far as them making their Ghost game, was all left behind. So all the new Infinity Ward had to do was just pick it up and continue where they left off. And I honestly believe that's what brought up Ghost, which came out a couple years ago. Now, I honestly think that apart from the campaign, that game was horrible. The spawns were absolutely horrendous. I guess the whole feel and physics of the game was just completely off from what actual physics are. And then there's always lag compensation, which was brought in during Black Ops 2 to kind of help level the playing field, but in my opinion, it was one of the worst, I guess, implementations into a game I've ever seen in my life. So, because of all those problems, I feel that Ghost kind of didn't succeed the way it should have. But the campaign part of Ghost was very well done, and I believe that's because the original Infinity Ward had so much of it laid out already that the new Infinity Ward just had to pick it up and just pretty much finish it and put it together. So because of that, I feel Marc Rubin didn't really step up to the challenge of becoming a lead developer. Don't get me wrong, he's still a great developer. He still did a lot of things for Call of Duty. He was there for 10 years. So he's been there for a very long time, and his work was definitely needed and helped out the Call of Duty franchise a lot. But as far as him being lead developer for Ghosts, in my opinion, it didn't really work out that well. So hearing that Todd Alderman is coming back is such great news, because like I said, he was there for older Call of Duties. He was the lead developer for Modern Warfare 2 and I believe COD 4. So again, the two good Call of Duties is what he was lead developer for. So I honestly believe that Ghost 2 or whatever they decide to make will have some older touches, and I believe that with him now in charge, they can really step up, and Infinity Ward can go back to being the #1 COD developer that I've always seen them as being. So there's just such good news for that. And so, what does this mean for the future of Call of Duty? Now, going back to the whole Modern Warfare 2 for next gen, I honestly think that it's now much closer to being a possibility than it was before. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that this is a guaranteed thing of happening, but it definitely is a step closer than it was before, only because Todd Alderman was the lead developer for Modern Warfare 2. I'm sure he would love to see it come back, and he would actually do it justice because he was the developer for it, so he knows how it's supposed to be, so he can make it that way again for next gen. Now, for those of you who follow me on Twitter, or even in previous videos, you'll know that I've always wanted them to bring back COD 4 and Modern Warfare 2 for the next gen consoles, but I would much rather than port it over, just so the fact that they don't manage to screw it up, because by trying to fix it and trying to update it, I believe they're going to kill the quality of it, and so it's not going to come out as good as it was on the PlayStation 3 or Xbox 360 or the PC for that matter. So now that he's here, I honestly think that if they do decide to bring Modern Warfare 2 or even the whole Modern Warfare franchise to next gen, that he's the person to do it, and he'll give it justice that it needs to port it over. So I honestly believe that with him now in charge, Infinity Ward has so much more ability to going back to becoming the powerhouse they used to be. And I guess my overall thoughts are that this can only be seen as a good thing. Marc Rubin must have had good reason if he wanted to leave all of a sudden. And I guess Activision's process of bringing Alderman back in to kind of take Rubin's place and kind of solidify him as the sole lead developer like in the good old days. So I honestly think that there's reasons for why all of this happened, and so I honestly think that this can only be a good thing. Obviously, you still had about 40 developers leave, and with all that's been going on in Call of Duty, with the newer engines and the newer issues, it'll be interesting to see how Alderman tackles those and is able to, I guess, fix those problems for the next Ghost game. I honestly think it's going to be Ghost 2, just because of how the first Ghost